Dear friends, in this video we will discuss about the hydrology, hydrogeology, surface water, groundwater, and advantages of groundwater topics. First, I want to give some salient points of the importance of water. Water is a renewable resource, occurs in three forms: liquid, solid, and gaseous form. No life can exist without water. It has been estimated that in the human body, 2/3 portion is constituted by water. Water is not only essential for survival of human beings, but also for animals, plants, and all other living beings. By considering all the above facts, study of groundwater geology is much useful for all the activities of human life. So, the water is very much essential, not only for human beings, all the living organisms, and it is used for the industry as well as agriculture as well as for our domestic purpose. Hence, the study of groundwater geology is very important. Now we will see what is the difference between hydrology and hydrogeology. Apart from these two words, there are several technical terms are used in the water-related study. That is, one is considered to be hydrology, another is considered hydrometeorology, another one is hydrometry, another one is hydraulics, another one is hydrography, and hydrogeology are the important branches related to water and its flow. Now we will see what is hydrology. Hydrology is the study of water. In the broadest sense, hydrology deals about the occurrence, distribution, movement, and chemistry of all waters. The study of the precipitations and the runoff relationship has been one of the primary aims of the science of hydrology. So, it is the study of the relationship between the precipitation, that is rainfall, and the runoff. So, rainfall water and the runoff water. This relationship should be studied is the main aim of the hydrology. Then hydrometeorology is the science which discusses the movement of water and vapor, that is in the atmosphere. That is water movement and vapor movement in the atmosphere is considered to be hydrometeorology. Then hydrometry is the science study about discharge of streams and practice of water management. So how much the water is discharged from the stream, and for water management practice, this hydrometry is useful. Hydraulics is the science or engineering which deals about the water actions in rivers, the works and machinery for conducting or raising it, its use in driving machinery. So, what is the action of the water in the rivers and how we can construct some machineries to tap some energy like that? That is called, that study is related to hydraulics. Then hydrography is the science of surveying and charting seas, lakes. So, if any surveying, investigation or charting of the seas and the lakes, rivers is considered hydrography. Hydrogeology or concept by geohydrology includes the interrelations of geological materials and their processes with the water. So, this is the hydrology, is a study of geological materials and its interrelationship with the water movement. Hydrogeology is both a descriptive and an analytical science. The development and management of water resources are important parts of the hydrogeology as well. Now, we will see what is the surface water and groundwater. Surface water body is any body of water found on the earth surface in the form of seas, rivers, lakes, ponds, etc. That is water stored above the surface. This is the ground level. Okay, this is the water is stored in the form of lakes or ponds. This is called as a surface water. The water also stored in the form of oceans or big lake or major lake like that, then it is called as a surface water. The water which is stored on the surface is called a surface water, above the surface, earth surface. Groundwater or underground water. Groundwater is the water found beneath the earth surface in the soil or and rock fractures of the formations. The water is stored below the ground in the cavities of the soil or in the fracture of the rock, then it is called as a groundwater. Our next topic is how this groundwater is more advantage than the surface water. This is the groundwater, this is the surface water. Surface water found above the ground level and underground waters found beneath the ground level or below the ground level. So, the groundwater is more advantage than the surface water. Now, we will say the what is advantage of the groundwater than the surface water. These are some of the points which is given for the advantage or benefit of the groundwater. Number one, In some places, the available surface water potential may be not sufficient. So in some places what happened, the surface water is not sufficient, then in this case what happened, the alternatively we have to use the groundwater. Then in case number 2, the point number 2, during winter season water will flow in the rivers, but during summer the river may dry up. In such a case, groundwater is the only source of the water supply. During winter season, the river, okay, the river we can get the water from tap from the river. But in the case of summer, what happens? The river may dry up, so we have to depend only the underground water on that region. Point number 3, due to dissolution of minerals, the surface water quality may be degraded, but at the same time, the quality of the groundwater is improved by through percolation or infiltration process into the ground. That is, the surface water is not pure and it is not also filtered naturally, but in the case of underground water, due to percolation and infiltration through fine sand and silt material, what happens? The water is easily naturally filtered. So the underground water is more safe and pure than the surface water. Now, point number 4. In the case of surface water, there is always a threat of pollution. So surface water is normally facing the threat of pollution. Pollution may be in any form. It may be the sewage or effluent or even solid waste may dump in that area. So the surface water normally facing the pollution problem, but the underground water, it is not facing the problem. Such possibilities is remote in the case of underground water. So underground water is more safer than the surface water. Point number 5, compared to surface water, the underground water is free from weeds, seeds, plant organisms, turbidity and bacterial pollution. So not only this type of chemical pollutions like solid waste, sewage and effluent pollution, there is also possibilities of the biological contaminations like a plant organism will grow on that water, surface water, even the bacteria virus also grow in the surface water, but it is not the case of the underground water. So the underground water is more safer than even the biological contamination. Point number 6, underground water is more uniform in quality, temperature, chemical composition and soluble mineral content, but surface water quality is variable. So the surface water quality is variable region to region, location to location, or even the same location. One lake or river may have one type of water quality, but another the same location in another place, what happens? In another surface water body, the water happens, the water quality may be variable. It is not uniform surface water quality, but in the case of underground water quality, almost the quality is maintained. Point number 7, dams and canal systems are needed to store surface water. In the case of surface water, dams and canal systems should be developed, then only water can be distributed. But in the case of underground water, we simply sink the borewell and we can tap the water. So there is no need of any dams and reservoirs, any money involvement or financial commitment is not there in the underground water storage. But in the case of surface water system, we have to spend huge amount of money to store the water. That is surface water is the underground water is more advantage than the surface water. Point number 8, in the case of surface water, the storage reservoirs always face silting problems, which gradually decreases their storage capacity. But in the case of underground aquifer, such conditions do not exist. So in the case of that is pond, lakes, what happens? The water is coming to the lake and pond through these small nallas like that. And it also not only brings water, it also brings small silt and other fine sand like that. So what happens? Slowly it will deposit in the bottom of the lakes and ponds. What happens? The capacity will be reduced in due course. So the problem will not be arise in the case of the underground water. Point number 9, loss of water due to evaporation is possible in the surface water. In the case of surface water, what happens? Because of solar energy, what happens? Surface water get evaporated, so the water capacity will be reduced for some extent in the case of surface water, but underground water, it is not possible. Point number 10, in the border areas, the surface water resources may be liable to destruction by enemy, particularly during wartime. So if it is a surface reservoir found in the border regions of any country, what happens? The enemy country will easily attack that reservoir and pollute that, even possible to pollute that area. So the surface water is not suitable in that regions. Only underground water is more safe. And point number 11, in the surface water reservoir, there is a possibility of leakage But in the underground research, there is no such situations. So surface water facing the leakage problems and through some fractures or openings, whatever, the water may goes to some other area. It is not safe in the reservoir, so that the underground water is more safe. And point number 12. Due to surface water storage, the earthquakes, landslides and unprecedented flood may be created. So, if the water is stored in the lakes or reservoir like that, in the form of surface water, if any natural disaster like earthquake, landslide will happen, what happen? There is a sudden flood will be formed in the nearby area. So, there is a possibility of a threat of flood. Natural disaster may happen due to surface water storage, but in the case of underground water, it is not happening. Point number 13. Large areas are submerged under the impounded surface water and loss of cultivation, but the submergence of the land surface is not involved in the groundwater storage. So, if we are storing the surface water bodies like large reservoirs or lakes like that, what happens? The entire area is going to be waste. The land, we are wasting up the land, but in the case of underground water, such a wastage of land is not occurring. So, this is the advantage of the groundwater than the surface water. Thank you.